What? This is all one sentence. I couldn't stop in the middle. Aging population. Is it a blessing or a curse for any society? You know, in simple terms, if we have more old people in a society, is it more mature, experienced, balanced? It has a bright future? Or preferably, we want a society which is younger, more vibrant, active, and, well, ready to take some risks. Well, that's all I can think of at the moment, but it depends on how you answer this question. Welcome to IELTS Juice. We're going to answer it, or at least see, score, and assess one candidate who's already answered it. And this time, the essay says, in many countries, many, people are now living longer than ever before. Some people say an aging population creates problems for governments. Other people think there are benefits if society has more elderly people. Okay, that's really interesting. There are two, the way that I can see the topic is that we have two camps. One camp believes old people are good. I'm sorry, old people are challenges for governments. And the second camp, because I want to go sequential, the second camp believes that, well, there are numerous benefits for any society if you have old people, more old people in it. Now, so far, I believe this is a discussion-led essay, so you have two camps, so you need to discuss both views and then probably say your opinion, right? Okay, let me read the question. To what extent, okay, do the advantages of having an aging population outweigh the disadvantages? Oh my God. Now it seems that we need to come up with advantages and disadvantages. Well, so it's not a discussion-led essay. It's an advantage and disadvantage one, right? Well, no, not exactly. Yes, to some extent. Let me put it in the most convenient way possible. The question is, do you think good items are more than bad items? Tell us how much. How much is the distance? How much better they are? That is the question. My suggestion would be to look at it, talk about advantages and disadvantages, again, plural, and we need to show, we need to write the essay in a way that shows our audience we believe if the good items are more, and if that's the case, how much? What's the distance here? You can, if you have seen other videos on IELTS Juice, you know that we usually play with quantity or quality game with advantages and disadvantages. And you know, we need to come up here, we need to come up with at least 3 advantages and 2 disadvantages. But if you disagree with this statement, you can say, no, there are only 2 advantages and now there are 3 disadvantages. So you play with the numbers and you can play with quality of the task. Anyway, we're not here to analyze the task a lot. I'm just telling you this information for you to understand that this is possible. You have elements of advantages, disadvantages, camp 1, camp 2, discussion-led essays, and even a little bit of opinion. But in total, this is an opinion essay. You need to have an opinion about this topic and you need to support it. And at the same time, you need to show me as the reader that why you believe there are more advantages than disadvantages, or no, more disadvantages than advantages. Let's read ahead. In many countries, young people have decreased. The young people did not decrease. The number of young people decreased. That's different than what I can see here. And the population, I need a comma here, and the population of old people is more. The population of old people is more than who? Than the young people in every nation, or in total, in many countries. Using comparative adjective. When you have only one side and you leave the other side for people's, I don't know, speculation. When the reader starts thinking, okay, is more than what? Without proper context, this is the very first sentence, and we are starting with a sentence that is playing with the reader's mind. This is not good. Try to define the items that you are going to talk about. So in many countries, the young people living there, or the number of young people living there has decreased in comparison to its population of old people. Or if you want to simplify it, you can say, comma, and the population of old people is getting more than before. More than before means you are comparing the population of old people right now with the population of old people some years ago. So old people versus old people. Not old people versus young people. That's a different meaning. If in a country 30% of them are young and 70% of them are old, then the population of old people is more. Okay, but that's population of old people versus the population of young people. That's why it is more. We are not comparing old people with right now with old people in the past. This sentence is misleading now. It is giving me multiple interpretations, multiple messages. A group of people think that the aging population, which is the American spelling, has a negative effect on governments. And the second group thinks that it is an advantage. I'm not sure if and is a good connector here, because these two usually, well, in this context, they contradict each other. They do not complete each other. They have kind of opposite views. And is not a good connector. And the second group thinks that it is an advantage if the population has more elderly people. Okay. Good. In this sentence, we are introducing the two camps, which is safe. It's in this particular sentence, it's safe. One of the advantages of the aging population is the use of their experience. We do not say in what. And one of the disadvantages is the reduction of the workforce. Okay, another and. Why we are just saying one of the advantages and then one of the disadvantages? I need the writer's opinion here, but it's not stated. And we need advantages and disadvantages, again, plural, but we have only one advantage and one disadvantage. Does it right now give you, any information that there are more advantages than disadvantages, or more disadvantages than advantages? No, this is not good thesis statement. A good thesis statement will create a framework for me in my head, what the essay looks like, what other paragraphs that I'm going to read look like, what kind of information they hold. I don't get that information from this sentence. Moving on to the first body paragraph. According to the opinion of the first group, which is the group that believes aging people, it's advantageous. It's very good. We can use their experience. Population aging. Population aging is a different word. It's not the word we know. Aging population means you have a population that is getting older. Population aging may refer to a mechanism, like you have a machine, you pour people into the machine, and when they come out, they are aged, like wine. It's weird, really. Again, this population aging doesn't mean aging population. That's it. Is not an advantage for governments. Okay. The aging population reduces the number of people who can work. I thought we are going to first talk about the advantages of aging population. But then we come up with that this is not an advantage. This is the first paragraph must follow the order of thesis statement. So the first item in the thesis statement is about the people who believe that aging population is good. They can put it in use because they are experienced. We can use their experience. But then we read and it says it's not an advantage for governments and it's bad, which is the second opinion here, but it's stated here first. That's a flaw. This is bad because you lied. I mean, IELTS doesn't like lying. When you say you will do something on the paper, on the task, and you do not deliver on that. This is bad. The aging population reduces the number of people who can work. When the age of population increases, okay, the age of people increases. So there are 60, next year there will be 61. The age increased. I hope the writer didn't want to say the number of old people increases. Because, for example, last year we had 1 million people over the age of 65. This year we have 1,200,000 people over the age of 65. That's the difference. They cannot do things like building, carrying, and driving. Carrying what? Like being a driver, like logistics? Well, that's, yeah, okay. But carrying, you need an object here. And there's a, wow, what's going on here? We have semicolon and comma. This is really weird. This never happens. Why is this? I need semicolon only. We don't need comma. Then we should delete this. As a result, it causes problems in jobs. Good. Can you tell me what types of problems? No. We're going to focus on another disadvantage. Another disadvantage of the aging population is the increasing prices. Why? What do you mean? When the age of people increases, again, this is repetitive. This is repetitive. And they cannot work. The government has to accept immigrants to meet their needs. That sounds fair. This is a good, fair, I mean, it is a legitimate way to put it, this topic to talk about. But this issue causes a decrease in houses and products. And the result is an increase in prices. Causes a decrease in the number of houses. Houses do not shrink. The number of houses go down. Okay. The second group, the writer still believes that we're talking on a discussion-led essay. So we have camp 1, camp 2, we just look at them, whatever they believe, and then we continue. That's not the case here. The second group thinks that the aging of the population is beneficial for the government. For the governments. For the government or for governments. Again, I don't need this. When there are more elderly people in society, their experiences and lives can be used. And governments can use their recommendations for the development of society. But sometimes it is necessary to use new ideas suitable for the present time for progress, which requires the ideas of young people. What? This is all one sentence. I couldn't stop in the middle. This paragraph has 2 sentences, and the second one is so long. And what did we talk about here? It's only beneficial. So that's it. There's only one benefit, and there are 2 disadvantages. Oh, this is not good. I can already feel the lack of control here. According to the explanations, the explanations above, I think the disadvantages of population, of aging population, are more than its advantages. Yes, 2 is more than 1. Yeah, that's correct. The aging of the population has disadvantages such as the reduction of labor force and high costs. And its only advantage is the use of the advice of the elderly. Okay, this is now correct because it talks about, this is now sequential. You have the disadvantages, labor force and high costs. Yes, the first one was labor force, the second one was high costs. And then there was only one benefit, and we talked about that one advantage. In this paragraph, in only 2 sentences, this is sequential, but it doesn't get sequential in 9 in coherence and cohesion because it's not 100%. The thesis statement says something different. The thesis statement says that there's only one advantage and there's only one disadvantage. One advantage is to use experience, and one disadvantage is, lack of labor or proper workforce. So that contradicts. It shouldn't look like that. It's 279 words. Let's look at the band descriptors together. Okay. Nice. Let's start from here because we said that we are going to say only one advantage and one disadvantage. We ended up with 2 disadvantages and 1 advantage. And we said first that we're going to talk about the advantages and then we talk about disadvantages, but the essay started with disadvantages and 1 advantage. So we basically didn't make it a coherent essay. Yes, there is some information. Yes, there is organization. I know there is 1 paragraph about advantages, 1 paragraph about disadvantages, but I don't know which one is first. So definitely not coherent, but it is actually organized, but in some way. But we didn't understand in what way, because the information bits contradicted each other. Anyway, there is overuse a little bit of discourse markers. I had issues with referencing, like the comparative adjective, that Aging population is more than aging population of the past year or more than the young people. It's the reference is more than what is not clear. That also leads us to issues with grammar, affecting my understanding. Not in a massively destructive way, but it is effective. And yeah, there are some structures, complex structures, we acknowledge they are there, but their accuracy level is lower than simple sentences. I also had some issues with the vocabulary. There were attempts to just make them look fancier and add variety, but we had repetitive structures and some word formation, like population aging versus aging population. We also had errors. What else? Yeah, another 5 here is that we were supposed to talk about advantages and disadvantages. We did answer the question. We did explain that there are more disadvantages than advantages, but elements of it wasn't addressed very well, and the format is not appropriate because it's not a discussion-led essay. This was supposed to be your opinion, and you tell us which one is higher and why. You just have to prove it to me which one, advantages or disadvantages, are, or which item group is more. 5.5 is a relatively fair score. I'm saying relative because there is a risk of this going down to 5. It's not a safe 5.5. But to improve it, we need to work a lot on multiple areas. I mean, all areas need work, especially task response and coherence and cohesion. So if you wish to see the improved version, the link is in the description below, and the link will take you to the website where you have access to the actual candidate's response, more information about the assessments, this video, and you will have access to the 7+ improved version of the same essay for you to understand how this can be improved, and you can implement this in your own essays. And if you wish to see other videos like this, you may always click over here. Please consider subscribing for more content up there or down below. And as always, I hope I'll be assessing your essay, letter, or report next time. Take care.